Let's turn our attention to this season. Some of the guys to keep your eye on in the Pacific Division. How about the Anaheim Ducks? Ondrej Kase, 11 goals, 9 assists, 20 points, 15:38 time on ice. Again, small sample size, 30 games. But what does that tell you this guy can do this season?
Yeah, he was a guy that was trending nicely, to be honest with you. And if not for the injury last year, he dropped down to only 30 goals for those 20 points that he got. He did get 11. But I just think a healthy season for him. There's a lot of opportunity in Anaheim. No more Corey Perry. A little bit of a changing guard happening out there. He's one of the young players. Very much the way Hertl and Meyer did in San Jose. I believe that Kase's a guy that's going to take advantage of, as you see him right there on the top line. Ryan Getzlaf still got a lot of miles left in the tank. Raquel had an off year last year. I expect him to be much better. But there's options there. He doesn't have to play with Getzlaf. He could play with Henrique and still have a 55, 60-plus point season, in my opinion. Very talented guy. Just derailed by injuries for me.
All right. So if healthy, you expect big things from Ondrej Kase.
And so does Anaheim.
All right. Let's hope so. Right down the road in L.A., it was a down year for everybody on this team. What do you think Adrian Kempe is capable of this season? 81 games, and again, all things considered, fully healthy.
Well, in order to have great flow, you got to be able to move around the ice. And this guy's got great flow in the hair. Let me tell you, he is.
He can fly, too.
He looks a little bit like Mike Badano. He's big, he's long, he's rangy. He's just coming into his own. There's some opportunity opening up in L.A. Last year was a nice season for him. It wasn't as good as the year before, but I felt like there was some growth there. There was some ability by him in a really tough year for an LA Kings team to have to play against a little stiffer competition, and I thought he handled it well. Also, a little bit of a changing of the guard for the Los Angeles Kings transpiring right now. There's a chance that Kempe ends up playing a lot more than a guy like Jeff Carter as they transition some of their older players down the lineup and some of their younger guys, former first-rounder Kempe, 29th overall, up into the lineup, chance to play with more offensive guys. He is a guy that could easily double his entire output for me next season. He's going to get that kind of opportunity.
A lot of guys on that team could probably double their output from a year ago. Up and down, veterans and rookies alike. Nick Schmaltz is the next guy we're talking about. You can see his numbers, 40 games last year with Arizona. All smiles there. Why is he going to be smiling this season, Lots? What are the expectations for Schmaltz?
Well, he's been smiling for a while now. He signed the big ticket with the Arizona Coyotes, long-term deal, $5.75 million. There's a reason why he signed that contract, is the Coyotes have big plans for him. And the loss of him last year, quite frankly, it hurt his game, of course, but it also hurt the Coyotes. This year, he's going to be counted on. And he may have a new weapon to play with at times in Phil Kessel.
Phil the Thrill.
That's really going to help him. When it's all said and done, he is a guy that's going to capitalize on the opportunity. He's shown before he can be a 50-point player. I think the Coyotes are looking for him to jump up into that 70-point range. He is a guy that looks like he could do it. He hasn't proven it in the past, but he's got all of the attributes that you need to be a big-time scorer, and I think he's going to get that opportunity. Look at the time on ice, even in a limited sample size with the Coyotes last year, 18:01. I expect that to crest 19 this year. And when you add it all together, you're going to see a guy that easily crests the 60-point mark.
Half his points coming on the power play. So power play specialist, Nick Schmaltz. And again, it's one of those situations. You get the opportunity. It's what you make of it. So you expect him to get a big opportunity this season in Arizona. That 7-year extension. So certainly part of the big future plans for John Scheike and the Arizona Coyotes. Last but certainly not least, the Vegas Golden Knights and this youngster, Alex Tuch. 74 games, really came on the scene. Everybody came on the scene that first season in Vegas. This was a guy that expansion draft. They got him from Minnesota. Alex Tuch, what is the ceiling for Alex Tuch, and has he hit it yet?
No, he hasn't even scratched the surface, in my opinion. He burst onto the scene the year before, and he just had some incredible plays in the incredible run for the Vegas Golden Knights to the finals. Last year, he backed it up with 20 goals, 32 assists. When I watch Vegas, you're never really quite sure. They've got a lot of players that are very, very close. This is a guy that has the ability, in my opinion, to separate himself and jump up potentially into that top 6. If Pacioretty doesn't get it going, Riley Smith, you name it. He can jump to just about any position. His time on ice last year was more reflective of a second-line player. That's why I'm so bullish. I know that Gallant has a lot of confidence in him. He's big. He can skate. He can be physical. His game is improving right in front of our eyes. He's just scratching the surface of his talent, in my opinion. He could truly be one of the next great power forwards in this league.
All right.
I'm very, very high on Alex Tuch. I recently put him on to the next World Cup team for Team USA because I do think as Team USA flips the script, so to speak,
to the younger
and
guys,
moves to these younger players, he's one of the guys that they're going to count on for the future.
All right, when you talk about breakout players, the definition of that should be William Karlsson in that first year in Vegas, right? That was one of those seasons where you're like, where the heck did this come
Nobody
from?
saw that coming, but you got to give Vegas a ton of credit for making that acquisition, for doing the transaction that they did with the Columbus Blue Jackets at the time, because it paid huge dividends for them and for Karlsson.
Still think the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be relevant when it comes to Stanley Cup contention this year, yet
Absolutely.
They're still in that expansion mode of kind of building this thing big picture?
They skipped it. They're past the expansion mode. That happened right away for them in the first year. And quite frankly, in terms of what George McPhee might be thinking, I think he believes that hopefully that's like 6 or 7 years down the line. Let's run out what we have here because we got a really good group of players. If we can keep this thing going and try to retool on the fly, we might not have any drop-off. And then they could literally go for 6, 7, 8 more years.
Seattle, take notice. You're on the clock, right?
Ron Francis is watching closely.
There you go.